Alright guys, I think we are live. If y'all are watching this as a video later on, I really hope you were able to come through and hang out with us during the live stream. If not, that's completely fine. Just make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, honestly, than subscribing to the channel will actually be to press that notification bell next to the subscribe button. And if you do that, you should get notified whenever we go live. That way y'all can come through and you can participate in the mock draft next time, because generally if you get here early enough, there's a good chance that you are going to be in the mock draft. But let me go through real quick before I start filling this and just make sure that we have the thumbnail updated so y'all don't have to look at my ugly face and decide if you want to click on the video or not. I would much prefer that it's a regular thumbnail, because I know nobody is going to be clicking on this face. Okay, so I believe that is good to go. YouTube's looking a little bit weird on Google Chrome right now. And I'll also say, if you're watching this later on, I'm going to be answering some questions at the very beginning of this live stream. So if you want to hear me just talk about random Dynasty Fantasy Football discussion, any questions that I get during the first half of this live stream, stick around, and then we'll be doing the mock draft about 10-15 minutes from now. But if y'all are just here for the mock draft, make sure y'all just skim on YouTube. You know how to do it. I will switch the screen so it's very easy for y'all to see when we have started the mock draft. But anyway, let me pull up the general chat. That way I can start answering some of the questions for the people who are in here. And okay, we already have a good amount of people in here. Looks like we got about 20 guys. I'll send out a notification in our fantasy football group chat as well, just to let people know that we are live. And let me also grab that link to Patreon for anybody wanting to participate in the mock draft right now. Y'all know the drill. Just shoot me that DM on Patreon and I will get you the link ASAP. Okay, so perfect. That is sent out. Let me see who all has joined the group chat so far. Okay, anyway, that looks like a little bit of a pain in the butt right there, so going to avoid looking at it with that view. Also, let me know if we have any problems with the live stream. Let me know if we have an echo, a lag, or anything like that. I see Mike is in here. Nash is in here. We got Willie in here. Tyler says he'll send us a DM on Patreon. Perfectly, my man. Let me pull up Patreon so I can make sure I get you that link. Jeremy Kaplan is going to be running this mock draft yet again. I will be participating in it. I'm going to be picking from the 12 spot like I did last night. I'm just going to continue to pick at the very end of these drafts. That way I can focus in on your questions and I can focus in on the other selections rather than just having to be looking at who I'm going to be taking throughout the course of the entire mock. So we're taking 12 because honestly, the first spot is very easy. If you're drafting with the 101, you take Patrick Mahomes and then you see what 3 down running backs fall to you in the second and third round, and then you load up with wide receivers right after that. I mean, I've done that enough for y'all to see how that is a winning strategy. But anyway, we grabbed that link for anybody wanting to join the mock draft. I also see that we have only 30 people watching right now, but we already have 10 likes on the live stream. So a third of y'all have decided to drop a like on the stream, and I am so appreciative of that, guys. Thank y'all so much for helping us out and getting us recommended to new viewers. If you're watching this as a video later on and you have not already, what are you doing? Go down there and drop a like on the video. It really helps the channel. Nobody has been live streaming as much as we have with Dynasty Fantasy Football content, and I plan to continue to do this throughout the entire offseason. I don't know if I can do every single day, but I'm going to be doing as much as I possibly can. So let me go over real quick and check Patreon to see. Okay, we have a ton of people DMing us on Patreon wanting to get into these mock drafts. Okay, so Rowan, sending you the link right now. Roberto, got you the link as well, guys. If y'all are wanting to join this mock draft, make sure y'all go shoot me that DM on Patreon ASAP, because it looks like this may be filling very, very soon. Okay, JJ got you that. Shane got you the link. Justin got it for you, my man. Okay, Dakota, perfect. Super excited to see Dakota out here. Dakota was unable to mock with us last night, but I'm excited that you can now. Nathan, Tyler, Okay, so perfect. Got all those links out with everybody who has DM'd me already. And let me know if we have anybody that I missed on Patreon that shot me a DM and I was unable to hit you back up with that link. I'll make sure I double back around to ensure that you are going. Let me read some questions as we wait for people to join. Okay, so Mike is saying you're clutch as hell with these mock drafts. And yeah, man, I mean, the main reason I'm doing these mock drafts right now is we are about to have so many spots open up in our Dynasty flock leagues that we are starting. Y'all know I host a ton of Dynasty leagues. And my favorite way to play Dynasty Fantasy Football is with y'all, with the subscribers. I mean, I crushed y'all in the 9 leagues that we were in together this past season. Can't wait to start some more up. Can't wait to play with the new subscribers. But yeah, those are going to be starting in about 10 days for everybody on Patreon. That's why I wanted to make sure I have a good amount of mock draft coverage. I can talk through my Superflex strategy because I know a lot of people are new to Dynasty Football. I know a lot of people are new to Superflex leagues in particular. So I want as many people as possible to have a chance to hop in here and get some experience. But it looks like we have about 2 spots left in this mock draft. So I'm sorry, we're probably not going to be able to get anybody in from the general chat. But if you message me on Patreon, you're almost certain to get in. Okay, so Willie coming out says, how do you start a league? Man, it won't let me, and I'd want to start a small one with somebody's. Here, that's the one bad thing about Dynasty Fantasy Football is it's so hard to run these leagues. Finding 12 guys that you're able to go out there and construct a long-term league around is a much more challenging task than a lot of people want to believe. But that's why I've been doing it with all the subscribers. We've had a ton of success so far doing it. So, man, if you want to play Dynasty, you don't have to worry about it. Just shoot me a DM on Patreon. I will add y'all to the list. Real quick, I'll be completely transparent. I'll show y'all what Patreon looks like on my end with how I am filling these leagues. So let me move this over real quick. I'll say, okay, so this is going to be the mock draft. We have 2 spots left in there. But anyway, let me pull up the Patreon. And here is where we have everybody asking to be in the leagues. This is the list that I have. Let me go to the post published. So yeah, here is the list to be in a league. So obviously there are a ton of people waiting to get into a flock league. We are going to be starting these up this next week. A bunch of people also down here commenting that they want in, and every single person on Patreon that wants to get into a Dynasty league with me will get in one. I promise y'all that. Let me see if we have any last minute DMs on Patreon to get in one of these leagues. And oh my God, guys, right now we have about 45 people watching and we have over 30 likes. I mean, you are never going to find anybody that is close to seeing that like to view ratio. I owe y'all a massive thank you. I mean, this is why we are the fastest growing Dynasty Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. And it's absolutely ridiculous the support that y'all show these videos, these live streams. So thank y'all so much for deciding to drop that like, also subscribing and turning on notifications for the videos, because that's clearly why y'all are all here. And I'm excited to continue to do this as much as I can. I'll be completely honest with y'all. This upcoming semester, which starts next week, I'm going to be taking 22 hours as someone graduating with 2 separate degrees. So I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to devote to live streaming every day. Also, I have a girlfriend, have a dog, live on my own, family across the country. So got a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. But I'm going to be trying to do my best to get y'all as much content as humanly possible. Okay. So anyway, let me see real quick if we have any last spots. Okay, so I think we need 1 more spot to be filled here. Let me double check that. So yeah, let me answer a couple questions, and then if we have no other last minute DMs on Patreon wanting to get in this mock draft, I'll send it out in the general chat and just have y'all fight for that last spot. But anyway, Katie says, how do I DM if I'm not a Patreon member? I'm very sorry. I don't think you can DM if you're not a Patreon member. We are going to have some content that is for non-Patreon members on Patreon, actually. I think I'm going to be creating an ADP list from these mock drafts and have it available to y'all to view for free on Patreon. But I think if you are going to be wanting to play in the leagues with us, that's going to have to be something that's exclusive to Patreon members, because Dynasty Fantasy Football takes a long-term commitment. So I want to make sure we are getting owners that are serious about Dynasty Fantasy Football. And that is why we are going to do it through Patreon only. Obviously, it takes me a ton of work to set those leagues up as well. Okay. So let's go through. Dakota saying, McDonald's worker, welcome to McDonald's. What can I get for you? Mason, here, I'm going to have to take the 10-piece chicken nugget. Man, I have no idea what that means, Dakota. But anyway, let's keep going. I see Logan says, I traded Raheem Mostert and Terry McLaurin for James Robinson and Robert Woods. Did I win? Yes, I literally have no value in Dynasty for Raheem, so I think that is a win, even though Terry McLaurin may be a much better asset than Robert Woods in Dynasty. And then we have Xenomex coming out. It says, what's a good strategy for Dynasty drafts? I'm going to be in my first one next week. Man, I'm very sorry. The only thing I can really tell you is load up on running backs still on their rookie contracts that profile to be 3-down guys. Outside of that, I'm going to want a lot more information on the league just the league settings, the league starting requirements for me to go through and let y'all know anything more than that. But Angel says, how do I message on Patreon? I'm sure there should be just a DM button on there. But anyway, let me double check to see if we have any last minute DMs. No, I think we are not going to bother looking for a last minute DM at this point. I don't see anything initially popping up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot this in the general chat for anybody who wants to take that last spot. And then we will be good to go, because I told Jeremy that we would start at 7:30. That spot is taken. Jeremy, not sure if you're watching this. I'll shoot you a text either way. Okay, perfect. This is when we are supposed to start. We are starting right on the dot. Let's wait until Jeremy hits us up with the good to go. Okay. So Jeremy has started the draft, man. If you can, please go down there and change that timer to 1 minute instead of 2 minutes, Jeremy. Let me shoot you a quick text to do that as well. Okay, perfect. Shot Jeremy that text, so that should be taken care of soon. Let me flip the screen over here. That way y'all can see. And we have Dakota, a.k.a. Baskin, coming out here, taking the very easy pick of Patrick Mahomes with the 101. And guys, real quick, if y'all are in this mock draft and it pauses like it just did, do not worry. That is just Jeremy changing the time from 2 minutes to 1 minute on the clock. That way we don't have to sit here rambling on too long. But Tyler is up on the clock. Tyler, if y'all don't know who he is, been a member of Patreon for a while, member of the flock for a while. And yeah, I mean, he has participated in multiple of these mock drafts, so I'm sure y'all have seen him in a video. I'm sure y'all have seen him in a live stream, whatever it is. And he takes CMC at the 102. And I'll give a quick sneak peek for a video that is coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to be making a video, well, I'm actually making it tonight, uploading it tomorrow, where I'm going to be discussing who I think the running back one is in Dynasty Fantasy Football. We have Dalvin Cook going off of the 103. And the running backs that I'm going to focus on, I'm going to focus on Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley. I'm going to talk about who I think needs to be the running back one in Dynasty and why. We have Alvin Kamara coming off the board at 104, Saquon Barkley coming off the board at 105. This is going to be very typical of what y'all are seeing in a Dynasty Superflex startup draft this year. You're going to be seeing Mahomes go off with the first overall pick. And then after that, you're going to be seeing a ton of 3-down elite running backs go off the board, as the wide receiver position is so deep that if you decide to pass up on one of these elite quarterbacks or one of these elite running backs for a wide receiver, you are going to be regretting it, as we've seen multiple teams do so far as we've conducted these mock drafts. But Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, both going off the board here. And I'll say it, I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again with Josh Allen. I mean, I can't get behind taking him this early on. I agree that Kyler Murray needs to be selected ahead of Josh Allen, and Josh Allen has all the upside in the world, but the problem is the consistency is just not necessarily there, in my opinion, for us to be considering him ahead of these other elite running backs. Someone like a Jonathan Taylor, I would much prefer over Josh Josh Allen when you could get Russell Wilson in the second round on the way back. But Jeremy up on the clock. Let's see who he decides to take. Hopefully, he doesn't time out. That'd be a very bad look if he does time out. If y'all don't know, Jeremy is the guy running all of these mock drafts for us. He is also collecting all of our ADP. He decides to go Jonathan Taylor there at the 108. Definitely the best value pick so far in this startup draft. I mean, in my opinion, I think Jonathan Taylor is easily a top 5 selection in these Dynasty startup drafts. But we have DeAndre Swift going off the board right afterwards. So that kind of kills our plans of wanting to go with DeAndre Swift at this 1-2 turn. Now we're going to be faced with a much more difficult situation. I will be saying this now. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I don't want anybody to snipe us, but we've done enough mock drafts so y'all know I'm not going to be looking at wide receiver here. So we are going to be strictly looking at quarterback and running back based on how these drafts go and based on what's going to be available in rounds 3 and round 4. I mean, in round 3, round 4, we're going to be looking at elite wide receiver options still available, and there are going to be no running backs and no quarterbacks. I can guarantee you that. So in an ideal world, we do exactly what we were able to last night in grabbing an elite quarterback and an elite running back to give us a little bit more flexibility down the road in this mock draft. I don't know if we are going to have that option, though, as at the running back position. I mean, really, there are no guys I'd be intrigued with in this range. There's Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, so preferably, I think we are going to be double tapping quarterback here. There's a strong tier of 3 quarterbacks left available, in my opinion, and that is going to be Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson. And yeah, here, y'all know I crushed some people for taking Justin Herbert way too early in previous mock drafts, in my opinion, where they were taking him top 5. And I was saying, yeah, Justin Herbert is a quarterback that I loved coming into the NFL. I have him on so many of my own Dynasty Fantasy Football rosters, but I thought that was too early. But at the very end of the first, the beginning of the second, I am fine with taking Justin Herbert. Another player that I hated his average draft position a year ago, Lamar Jackson. I thought he was fueled by unsustainable touchdown rate, and I thought that he was going to regress in 2020, which ended up happening, but he is still an elite outlier rusher of the football at the quarterback position, and we know that's what wins you leagues at the quarterback position, is having that elite rushing production. So I am going to be taking Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert at the 112-201, although Russell Wilson is right there, I mean, with Justin Herbert for me. I mean, if you wanted to take Russell Wilson over Justin Herbert, I am not going to complain in the slightest. I'm mainly going to be taking Herbert here because when you play in so many Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues, you know that some players just don't last to certain picks, and I'm going to have a ton of opportunity to take Russell Wilson in the middle of the second round of these Dynasty startup drafts, where we're not going to have that luxury with a Justin Herbert, as he's been going off the board in the first round the majority of the time. So while I think it's so close between Russell Wilson and Justin Herbert, I think we are going to have to go Herbert here. Mr. 24K God decides to go Russell Wilson. I love that selection. And guys, let me know what y'all think right now. Let me know if y'all are willing to take Deshaun Watson ahead of quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson. Because with all the news circling around Deshaun Watson, I don't know if I could get behind that selection. I don't know if he's as safe as an option of those other quarterbacks, especially a Russell Wilson, someone who's been at the very top of the NFL for a very long time. And we know at the quarterback position in Dynasty, I mean, age does not mean that much. But I'll say one thing real quick here. I mean, we are at this point, I want to say 15 picks into the startup draft, and we have yet to see a wide receiver go off the board. We've seen Justin Jefferson actually sneak into the first round of some of these Dynasty mock drafts, which y'all know I've completely torn into. I hated those selections. But now I think that people are doing a fantastic job of taking the quarterbacks, taking the running backs, avoiding the landmines at wide receiver, as you're going to have so much wide receiver depth available to you later on in the startup draft. But anyway, let me go through. Let me check the general chat. Dakota says it's Saquon. We know. CMC is the running back one because of the value you can get by trading him. Tyler's saying, what do you think the Chargers will pick during the NFL draft? I really hope they take Kyle Pitts. I mean, didn't they just give Hunter Henry a significant contract an offseason ago? I mean, Hunter Henry is someone who's dealt with injuries throughout the course of his entire NFL career. but still a decent option if you were looking at just a pure receiving threat at the tight end spot. I mean, I have no idea where the Chargers are going to go. I think it's a little bit too early to speculate for someone like me who's not following the Chargers as closely as most other people would. But let's go and see if we have any other questions. Okay, we have Mike asking, would you trade Keenan Allen, this year's 106 and 212, and a 2023 second for Alvin Kamara? Okay, so pretty much we are going to be discounting that second round pick if it's all the way in 2023. I'll put down the record on this. I hate that setting where you can trade picks that far into the future, because unless it's a league that has been around for 10, 12 years, I mean, generally you see in these dynasty leagues that if you have that setting available where people can trade their first and second round picks 3 years out, you get a very bad owner coming in, completely decimating and ruining a team. And if a team has no assets in a dynasty league, I mean, that league is suspect to just completely crash. And yeah, I mean, I hate the idea of being able to trade picks that far into the future, even though I know a lot of people get excited. A lot of people want to have that option. But for the just security of a dynasty league, I personally do not like that. I'll say we are going to be going with Alvin Kamara over the package, though, just in that Keenan Allen is another year older. And we know with Alvin Kamara, he is only 25 years old. If you look at his contract structure, y'all know generally I do not like buying into those running backs that are off their rookie deals already. But in the case of Alvin Kamara, I mean, he's locked into the New Orleans Saints for a very long time if you look at his guaranteed money. So I think he is a little bit safer than most of those other rookie running backs. I'm sorry, not rookie running backs, veteran running backs. But anyway, sorry about changing the screen like that, a little bit weird. We'll try to get better at that going into the future. And let's see if we can get all the way through the first 2 rounds without having a single wide receiver off the board. Personally, I think that is the best way to go about it if you were just looking at how these drafts go and what value you can get at wide receiver in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, a ton of these drafts, if you've seen me select out of the first spot, I'm taking Mahomes at 101. I'm taking Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs at the 2-3 turn. And then I am taking 4 or 5 wide receivers straight in rounds 4 through 7. So yeah, I mean, there are so many quality wide receiver options, and it looks like Antonio Gibson is getting auto-selected for Tyler. Tyler, my man, where are you at? Please come through. Tyler, I believe, has never had an auto pick before. Let me message him in the live stream chat real quick. Make sure he can come back. Okay, so yeah, he definitely needs to come back. If not, if we get back to that pick, we are going to have to pause the draft. That way we can make sure we get someone in there to replace him. But anyway, we have Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams off the board right now. Let's see if there is any running back talent still left on a rookie deal. I mean, you have Zeke, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, David Montgomery, Joe Mixon. So yeah, there are still some running backs. I'd be very excited if we have one fall back to us at the 3-12. We are seeing a small run on wide receivers here. We have Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. Tyreek Hill was a auto pick, so please don't read too much into that. We've actually had Justin Jefferson, I believe, drafted as the wide receiver 1 over and over and over again in these mock drafts until this one. So it's very intriguing that he falls here to wide receiver 3 behind Devontae Adams. Honestly, that's going to be such a hard pick for me to make. I had Devontae Adams as a wide receiver 1, the wide receiver 1 coming into this season. But I think going into 2021 is going to be a different story, because if you look at the free agent class of wide receivers, there's going to be someone coming in to Green Bay. And I know they are not going to be replacing Devontae Adams as the wide receiver 1, even if it is a Kenny Golladay. But what is going to happen is we are going to see the target share for Devontae Adams fall off slightly. I mean, he's not going to be seeing over 30% of his team's targets if we have a significant wide receiver 2 going in across from him. But now it looks like we are probably not going to have a running back available to us at the end of the third, as we've had Eckler, Zeke, and Joe Mixon all go off the board. Aaron Rodgers goes off at the 308. That is a fantastic selection by Jeremy, who is able to start the draft with 2 running backs and still getting that elite quarterback option at the 8th pick in the 3rd round. So very excited to see that. Let's see if No Capsules decides to go QB here. Personally, I think that he should pass on a quarterback. I think that he should go with a running back in either Aaron Jones or David Montgomery. I know that's not necessarily a safe thought, but if you just look at the teams that are drafting behind him, while yes, he desperately needs a quarterback, everybody behind him needs a running back production. So if he would have gone, just say, with a David Montgomery, it looks like Nash, Mr. 24K God, and myself cannot take a quarterback after that Ryan Tannehill selection. So I think he could have kind of gambled for the next 5 selections, taken David Montgomery, get that 3rd running back, and then see if Ryan Tannehill or Jared Goff falls back to him in the 4th round. Okay. So let's go through and let me see. Okay, so people are saying they want to replace Tyler. So yeah, let me talk. Actually, no, it looks like Tyler is back, so I don't think we need a replacement for Tyler. But guys, if y'all are wanting to get in a Dynasty mock draft, what y'all need to do is subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications next to that subscribe button. That way you get notified as soon as we go live before we start the mock draft, and you can get in here. I think possibly I'm going to be doing another mock draft tomorrow night, but like I said earlier, I'm taking 22 hours this semester, so I don't know how available I should be after this. Okay, so we are up on the clock with back-to-back picks at the 312 and the 401. If we are going through, obviously we cannot afford to take a quarterback here. Okay, David Montgomery is staring us straight in the face, so David Montgomery is going to be one of these selections. And then our other one's going to be down between DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown. We have no stack potential with Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert at quarterback, so we do not need to take that into consideration. But anyway, let's get our running back out of the way here. And I'll say in a standard Dynasty Fantasy Football League, I would much prefer having a DeAndre Hopkins, a DK Metcalf, and A.J. Brown over David Montgomery. But the way this draft has gone, actually, you know what? I am sounding like an idiot as I speak out loud, because the number one thing that I advise people to do every single draft is take the best player available. Do not just fall into the sucker move of taking the person that is the last running back or the last quarterback 2 in a tier. So what we're going to do here is we are going to gamble slightly. We are going to take our top 2 players available, and then we are going to see what running backs fall to us later in the draft. It looks like we are building a 0 running back team here. Was not my plan going in, but if you're looking at the value that we've been able to accrue with Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert at quarterback, and now DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown at wide receiver, I mean, I did not envision this start. I was hoping that we started with a Russell Wilson and a DeAndre Swift, and then we're able to go with a running back and a second quarterback in rounds 3 through 4. But yeah, at this point, I mean, you have to do what is best for your roster in terms of talent acquisition and not necessarily just straight up needs. So that is going to be DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown. Okay, so let's go through and let me see if we have anything we need to do. Okay, so Tyler is saying that his Wi-Fi, it looks like Tyler's good, guys. I think that he is fine now. Okay, so people are saying, would you prefer having DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown? Guys, let me know what you think in the general chat right now. I'm not going to even answer this question. I think they are so close, but spam your answer in the general chat. Just spam Metcalf or Brown over and over and over again, because I want to see what the consensus is in the flock. We have a little bit of a wide receiver run going here. I mean, it's not because we took DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown. That was going to happen regardless, but 4 straight, just because this is the range where you were looking for those running backs. So it looks like Jeremy is going win now. Jeremy has a fantastic team so far. Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce. I love stacking those 3 players together, because when you do that, yes, you give up some long-term value, but you're pushing all your chips in the middle saying, you know what, I'm going to take this down in 2021. Okay, so let's go through. People are saying Brown, Metcalf, Metcalf, Brown, Brown. Dakota's saying wide receiver rankings don't matter. They're in the same tier. Dakota, I am right there with you, my man. I mean, I would not even give too much thought into DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown on my own Dynasty startup. I mean, they are so close. They both had fantastic profiles coming into the NFL. I think personally, if I'm going to go, I'm just going to end up giving it to A.J. Brown, as A.J. Brown is a little bit more of a complete wide receiver, and we don't have to worry about anything with his injury history. And on top of that, we know that he has been one of the most efficient wide receivers of all time so far throughout his NFL career. But anyway, let me slide this over a little bit for y'all so y'all can see where we are going on this side of the draft. And also, guys, let me know what y'all are thinking of the Michael Thomas fall. I mean, do y'all think at this point he is a value? Do you think at this point he is still being overdrafted? I mean, going to be very interesting to see what happens to him next year with no Drew Brees. But I'm sure that if I told you a year ago that Michael Thomas would be going in the 4th round of Dynasty startups in 2021, a bunch of people would not believe me. Okay, but anyway, let me go through, and yeah, the football therapist is saying he loves Brown, but it's splitting hairs. Billy King coming in says Brown gets more targets, but DK Metcalf is better. And guys, I'll say real quick, I don't care who's better. I know that is such a contrarian take. I know a lot of people want to focus in on their videos of saying who is the better wide receiver, who is the better running back. But what I prefer to do is I prefer to win fantasy football leagues, and that's by ignoring the splitting hairs in talent profile and instead looking at how the wide receiver fits into his team situation, the opportunity that he is seeing in his offense, and if he can take advantage or not. Okay, we have CeeDee Lamb falling to the 411. I think maybe this is the latest CeeDee Lamb has gone in any of these Dynasty startup drafts. I mean, that is clearly a value if the Dallas Cowboys have Dak Prescott back in 2021, which I know Jerry Jones said they plan on doing. But, I mean, actions speak louder than words, and they decided to not sign him. Decided to not give him that massive contract coming into the season. So I'm going to be waiting and seeing with Dak Prescott in Dallas. I'd imagine that he's most likely there. But regardless, I think it's going to be a very intriguing situation. Okay, so Tyler is saying that his Wi-Fi is messed up. So I wish that I had control of going through and just uploading this pick right away. Let me text Jeremy to see if he can give Tyler real quick. Okay, hopefully that may have not been a good thing. Okay, perfect. Tyler was able to go through and get Jared Goff. I was going to text Jeremy to see if he could load Goff up himself. But anyway, let's go through Chris Carson at the 503. I mean, this is why you need to get your running backs early, because that is a nasty selection. There would never be a Dynasty League where I am taking Chris Carson over Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen, Julio Jones, Kenny Golladay, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Reagor, Odell Blackman Jr., Tyler Lockett. I would rather have every single one of those wide receivers over over Chris Carson, who does not have a contract going into next season. And, I mean, has been the definition of injury prone throughout the course of his entire NFL career. Okay, so MJ Mack has yet to take a quarterback. He is loading up on running back and wide receiver talent, as well as getting Darren Waller at the very end of the 4th round. So far he has Alvin Kamara, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller, Allen Robinson. And honestly, I kind of like his decision on passing on a quarterback here, because if he is looking at quarterback, I mean, really, there's nobody that stands out ahead of everybody else. I mean, we have Matt Bryan, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, Carson Wentz, Jordan Love, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. I mean, so I guess you could argue that Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford are in their own tier, but definitely not superb assets. And if you look at the teams drafting after MJ Mack, we have Shane, who already had his 2 quarterbacks. Beerman already had his 2 quarterbacks. And then here, Jeremy, No Capsules, and Nash's Cash all only have 1. But are they going to be willing to go out there and take their second quarterback when it is that tier? I think that they make the pivot over and to take wide receivers like they are doing right now with Godwin, Ayuk, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore. So honestly, that may have been a good call by MJ Mack if this wide receiver run continues, which it looks like it is going to. So yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic, bold call in my opinion, but it worked out. Okay, so we are going to be up on the clock in 2 picks with back-to-back selections. And the best quarterbacks available, which we're not even really going to be considering, are Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, and Kirk Cousins, in my opinion. If we look at running back, we have Kenyon Drake, Kareem Hunt. Not considering either one of those running backs, we are going to be right back to the wide receiver well. I mean, we already took DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown. This is why I wanted to take David Montgomery there, but we are going to be going with our best player available, and then we are going to be trying to backfill with running back talent at the very end. So what we're doing here is we are going to be taking Mike Evans, and between Amari Cooper and Juju Smith-Schuster, we can have a conversation here. I know Jerry Jeudy's at the top of the ADP list, but that is definitely not the route that you want to go. We are going to be going with Amari Cooper over Juju Smith-Schuster, just because with Juju, his future is uncertain based on the fact that he's probably making more money through social media right now than he is making playing football. I don't know where his motivation lies between the two, and he is a free agent this offseason. So the start of our draft was Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. Was not planning on creating a zero running back build. I generally hate the idea of coming out of the first 2 rounds without a running back. But, I mean, this is what fell to us. This is a draft with a bunch of members of the flock, and they are going to be soaking up that 3-down running back value at the very beginning, not leaving us with much, and we kind of got caught in a dead zone at the end of the 3rd, the beginning of the 4th. So our hand was a little bit forced in making us take Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, and A.J. Brown. Okay, so Tyler is saying, am I stupid or do I not see Patrick Mahomes? Guys, over here, we have another team. So please, please, please do not worry. Mahomes was selected here. Kareem Hunt going off the board at the 603. Guys, y'all know I was a massive fan of Kareem Hunt a year ago. I mean, I was looking at that Cleveland situation, saying that Nick Chubb was being overdrafted. Kareem Hunt was being undervalued based on the projected touches that we were going to have in that offense. But here, Kareem Hunt, way too early at the 603. I mean, he has 1 year left on that deal in Cleveland. After that, he's going to be a veteran running back with no job security. We know that's something that you want to be avoiding in Dynasty Fantasy Football. I'd much prefer getting the Juju Smith-Schuster, someone that has that talent profile, that is still only 24 years old and can be a difference maker over the next 4 seasons. So yeah, really don't like the selection of Kareem Hunt there at the 603. This is what we were talking about earlier, where I wanted to go with a running back, but I just couldn't because the talent was at wide receiver. Kenny Golladay at the 605 as well. I mean, I'm going to say this every single mock draft. I mean, Golladay may just be the best value in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now, at least at the wide receiver position. I mean, that ADP for him is just criminal. I'm excited to have our own ADP list for these flock mocks that I can give to y'all on Patreon. I'm sure that should be coming soon. I just want to make sure we have enough drafts to go into that data set where it is a little bit noteworthy. But anyway, Odell Blackman Jr. going off at the 606. That is a very intriguing selection. Let me know what y'all think of Odell at this point. I mean, coming off of a massive injury, really has not been an elite producer in a very long time. And clearly, I have that Odell Beckham Jr. jersey behind us. I'm a massive fan of Odell, as well as Sammy Watkins, Amari Cooper, obviously. But, I mean, the future is so uncertain with Odell. I just don't know what to expect. I know a lot of people, after that Odell injury happened, were saying that the Cleveland Browns were going to be better without Odell Beckham Jr. and without having to force targets his direction. I called those people idiots. I said they had no idea what they were talking about. But it looks like they were most likely correct. I mean, it looks like I may be left holding the L there. And I want to point something out real quick. Y'all know when MJ Mack passed on quarterback at the 504. I said, yeah, he did not have a quarterback, but it was probably a good call based on looking at the teams behind him and their respective team needs. And yeah, between his picks, he did a fantastic job of predicting what was going to happen. Only Daniel Jones going off the board, and he was able to get Kirk Cousins at the 609. Now, it's going to be very intriguing to see if Tyler or King decide to pass on Matthew Stafford. Probably should not be saying this in the live stream in case either one are listening. But if that happens and if MJ Mack is able to get Stafford at the 704, I mean, he worked this draft beautifully. I mean, absolutely killed it. Okay, Laviska Shenault going off the board at the 612 with Urban Meyer announced as the head coach for Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence coming in. I mean, that is a very bold call. Dakota, man, I cannot get behind that. I mean, DJ Chark is the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville, in my opinion. I mean, if y'all don't know who DJ Chark is, pretty much he came out of LSU as a spark score stud, a superb athlete, a deep threat guy. Disappointed in his rookie season, I believe, back in 2018. 2019 had a hell of a year with Gardner Minshew. In 2020 was a little bit up and down, but he was getting the targets ahead of Laviska Shenault. I'm projecting him to be the wide receiver 1 for that team going forward. And with Trevor Lawrence, I think DJ Chark is actually the wide receiver you want to own there. Okay, so it looks like Tyler ends up taking Matthew Stafford at the 7:02. Maybe I screwed MJ Max plan up of getting Matthew Stafford there at the 7:04. That's on me. I am sorry, my man, but hell of a start regardless. Love that call of passing on quarterback to get Kirk Cousins in the 6th round after you made that commitment. If we're looking at your draft, I mean, really, you never had the shot at getting a quarterback. They pretty much fell outside the tiers for you every single time. I mean, you could have gone with Kyler Murray at the 104. I would not have faulted you with that, but I agree. You can't take Aaron Rodgers. You can't take Jalen Hurts at the 209. That is simply just too early for them. So, yeah, I agree on passing with them on the 2nd pick. 3rd round, that's where it gets a little bit interesting. I think that you could come out here and you can make the argument to go with Rodgers. Regardless, you decided not to. 4th round, definitely not taking Tua there. So I agree, man, your draft has been killer so far. But anyway, let me go through and try to catch up. So we have Matt Ryan going off the board at the 7:03. And let's see, Dakota is out here saying Laviska is still young and producing. Okay, so with Laviska Shenault, it's so intriguing just because he was an elite level athlete, but we don't have his official testing numbers because he did hurt himself. I believe he pulled his groin running the 40 at the NFL Combine this past season. So if we knew exactly what kind of athlete we were dealing with, I think it would be a little bit easier to try to have that distinction between DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault. But from where we stand right now, I just can't do that. And I want to point something out, guys. We have a little bit over 100 people watching the live stream right now, but we have 50 likes on the live stream. Literally, half of y'all have decided to go down there and drop a like. That is absolutely massive. Thank y'all so much for supporting the stream. And we are about to be back up on the clock at the 7:12. Let me slide this over here for y'all so you can see. Okay, so going to be an interesting spot where we desperately need a running back. Right now, we have 2 quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert. We have 4 wide receivers with DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, and Amari Cooper. I definitely wanted to get a running back a little bit earlier, but we just fell out of that range. I mean, we had Aaron Jones be picked right before us at the 3:12. So, I mean, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to take David Montgomery over DK Metcalf, AJ Brown? That's just something I would not be able to live with myself for. So yeah, I think that we kind of had our hand forced, and we're going to be looking at a running back here at the 7:12. Kenyon Drake, Zach Moss, A.J. Dillon, Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. To be honest, I can't do it. I won't do it. That's not where the value is. We're going to be looking at either wide receiver or tight end. At wide receiver, there's a Robert Woods, Denzel Mims, Robbie Anderson, Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown is definitely my favorite wide receiver out of this group, despite having this past up and down season. But if TJ Hawkinson falls to us here at the 7:12, I think, honestly, we are most likely going to be going with Hawkinson as our first tight end. I think this is where we can officially say that he is a value. So yeah, A.J. Dillon selected right before us. So here we are going to be taking TJ Hawkinson and our 5th wide receiver. Now, I'll say this real quick, guys. I mean, I hate to be the player drafting a position over and over and over again, overloading on that position in hopes to trade assets later on to fill a need. But when you do draft a position over and over and over again, what you need to do as a safety blanket for yourself is draft young with future value at that position, where worst case scenario, you have an asset that you maybe need to wait a year to move. And here it makes a ton of sense that we are able to get the stack with Lamar Jackson, and he's the best player available on the board right now. So we are going to be going way down on this ADP list. I mean, 40 spots after Henry Ruggs. I just don't agree with this. Sleeper has a horrible ADP set. We are going to be taking Hollywood Brown at the 801. So yeah, we are going Hollywood at the 801, and let's go through. Okay, so JN is upset. It looks like that we took Hollywood at the 801. Okay, so DMar coming out says, thank God someone is making a Dynasty mock already. Yes, sir. We have done a Dynasty mock every single day the past 3 days. Going to be doing one tomorrow as well. Make sure y'all are subscribed. Make sure you have that notification bell hit. And also, if y'all have subscribed during this live stream, let me know, because I've not seen any notifications pop up on the stream for us. So maybe my alert box is messed up. Maybe just nobody has subscribed. But if y'all have subscribed during this live stream, not beforehand, please let me know in the general chat. Okay, so let's see who JN decides to take here. He decides to go with Denzel Mims. My man, you're going with Denzel Mims, former Baylor wide receiver. Y'all don't know JN is a major UT homer. Can't believe you're going the Baylor route, my man. I mean, definitely not any worse than my Hollywood Brown route out of OU. I mean, as they say, you can never trust an Oklahoma Sooner. But anyway, we decided to taking Hollywood Brown there. We have another wide receiver coming off the board in Robert Woods. Will Fuller. Now, guys, let me know where y'all think Will Fuller is going to land. I just think that Will Fuller definitely fits the Green Bay Packers scheme so well. I mean, imagine Will Fuller stretching the field opposite of Davante Adams with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I mean, I think that is best case scenario for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so let's go through. And Mike is saying, I've heard you say in the past that you're nervous Chase potentially heading to Cincinnati and hurting T. Higgins' value. Where would you rank Higgins if Chase happened to go to Cincinnati? Okay, so let me go through and let's look at where T. Higgins went in this startup draft. And let's just let me go through it saying how far I think he would slide if Ja'Marr Chase ended up landing in Cincinnati. And I'll say real quick, guys, with Ja'Marr Chase, as a quick side note, he is most likely my favorite wide receiver in this draft class ahead of Devontae Smith. But we're probably going to be making a video on that in the upcoming days where I can dive into that on depth. But I think Ja'Marr Chase is most likely going to be an alpha wide receiver at the next level, soaking up a good amount of targets. So I don't love the idea of that happening for T. Higgins. But anyway, in this draft, T. Higgins was selected at the 5'10". These are the players that were selected after him. And if Ja'Marr Chase goes to Cincinnati, this is who I'd be dropping T. Higgins behind. Chase Claypool, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, honestly kind of interesting. I think Jerry Jeudy is severely overdrafted here. Juju Smith-Schuster I'd rather have over Higgins if we see Chase go to Cincinnati. Galladay I'd rather have over Higgins. Julio I'd rather have over Higgins. I would honestly Chark as well if they don't make an investment into the wide receiver position this offseason. Outside of that, I think that's possibly about it. It's really going to come down to what we end up seeing with Odell Beckham Jr. and his landing spot. And if Jerry Jeudy and the Denver Broncos are able to fix the quarterback situation going into next year. But I just think with T. Higgins, we have to understand that he does have that downside risk. Okay, so we have Henry Ruggs going off the board at the 8-10. Let's see what wide receivers are still available. We have Brandon Cooks, Jarvis Landry, Corey Davis, Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel, Christian Kirk, Brian Edwards. I think that's a completely fair range to take Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs is someone that looks like I got wrong in taking in way too many Dynasty rookie drafts a year ago. We have Corey Davis going off the board at the 8-11. I'd love to see that. Noah Fant going off at the 8-12. Noah Fant is someone that I think can take a massive leap going into year 3. I mean, you look at his athletic profile, he could easily be one of the most athletic tight ends in the entire NFL, right outside of George Kittle. So that is a great pick. Jarvis Landry at the 901, someone I am warming up to. But let's go through and let's talk about the players that are best available according to ADP. So we have Drake, Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Raheem Mostert, Keyshawn Vaughn, Mike Gesicki, Todd Gurley, Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram, David Johnson, Devin Singletary. So y'all can tell it's running back, tight end. And this is why I need to create our own ADP list for these flock mock drafts, because Sleeper has a horrendous ADP list. So I'm going to be creating that, uploading it on Patreon, not only for the Patreon members to see, but for everybody to see. So do not worry about that. But that is going to be coming from these mock drafts. And let me check the general chat real quick. Platinum is saying thoughts on DJ Moore. I mean, DJ Moore, an elite young asset, is going to be a lot better if Curtis Samuel leaves this upcoming season. Okay, so Dan Edwards says, would you say it's a bad time to trade for Aaron Jones? I got him, but also landed CeeDee Lamb as well since I'm weak at wide receiver. Yeah, it's a very bad time to trade for Aaron Jones. I mean, Aaron Jones is a running back that I was sounding the alarms on an offseason ago. After they drafted A.J. Dillon, I know a lot of people wanted to just act like Aaron Jones was a safe long-term asset. But Aaron Jones is like the same age of Todd Gurley. Aaron Jones has no contract in 2021. He was a 5th-round selection out of UTEP for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, not exactly a guy with a ton of pedigree. Yes, he is very talented. But, okay, I see Tio Cap is out here, and he's asking to make him a mod. Yes, sir. Let me hook you up with that ASAP. Okay, perfect. Got you, my man. Got you. Okay, so Jimmy Fork asking, who do you think the Falcons are signing as a head coach? Honestly, not going to talk too much on that just because I'm going to be completely honest. I am not too convicted. I do not have a strong enough take that I feel confident about to give y'all anything that is going to be helpful. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. E-Rock is asking, where is James Robinson? He was selected at the 301 right before Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Austin Eckler, Ezekiel Elliott, Joe Mixon, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, George Kittle, Aaron Jones, and DK Metcalf. Okay, so real quick, we have Dallas Goedert going off the board at the 905, a lot earlier than he was going in drafts previously, but it's probably because I've been hyping him up so much as Dallas Goedert is a tight end that after he was drafted behind Robert Tonyan in the startup draft, I mean, I had to throw up in my mouth. I mean, Dallas Goedert has so much talent. It's disgusting that he is viewed in the light of some of these other tight ends like Robert Tonyan, like Cole Kmet. I mean, just absolutely gross. Okay, we have Jordan Love going off the board at the 907. I mean, this is another quarterback that I said was a deep stash in Superflex leagues that I like, but still, I don't know if I can get behind this value. I mean, if we're looking at wide receivers still available, I think I would prefer having Michael Gallup on my team over Jordan Love at this point. But to each their own. We are about to be back up on the clock. Let me run through my team one more time. I will say I'm not a massive fan of this team. This is not my planned route, but drafting out of the 12 spot is possibly the worst spot to be drafting. We ended up taking Lamar and Justin Herbert with our first 2 picks to lock down our quarterback position. I was planning on going with a 3-down running back once we got back to our 3rd and 4th round turn, but we just had none available to us with long-term safe value. So we ended up having to go with some wide receiver talent with DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown. And then rounds 5 and 6, you will 100% of the time see me avoiding the running back position because guys like Chris Carson, Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt, severely overvalued in this range in terms of people just automatically assuming that they have job security when they don't. Okay, then we decided to take TJ Hawkinson and Marquise Brown at the 712 and 801. So yeah, now we are back up with the 912. Going to be a very interesting spot. If we were looking at running backs, there's Kenyon Drake, Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Keyshawn Vaughn, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Devin Singletary. If we were looking at wide receiver, we have Brandon Cooks, Christian Kirk, Brian Edwards, KJ Hamler, Mike Williams. If we're looking at quarterback, we have Carson Wentz, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. If we go back over to tight end, there's Zach Ertz, Cole Kmet, Jonnu Smith, Irv Smith. So yeah, Hunter Henry goes off the board right before us. And I'll say by Mr. 24 God, I'm sure that he is in here. Man, I want to point this out quickly. I really hate this pick of Hunter Henry because if you wanted Hunter Henry, you should have just waited to the 10-2 to take him there because I clearly just selected TJ Hawkinson. So you would not have to be worrying about me taking Hunter Henry there. And at this selection, I mean, our hand is going to be forced a little bit. We are going to be having to take Kenyon Drake at the 912. Although I definitely do not like it as our first running back. We are just going to have to pray that he has a starting job in 2021. And then if we were looking at the 10-01, I mean, I definitely am not wanting to take Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Keyshawn Vaughn, Todd Gurley, David Johnson. I mean, those all look like disgusting options. But if you look at wide receiver, it's gross. You look at quarterback, it's gross as well. So I think we just have to suck it up and understand that we did this to ourselves with drafting too many wide receivers early on, and we're going to have to take Melvin Gordon here in the 10th round, even though this is going to be one of my least favorite picks in the entire draft, but it's disgusting. Has to be done, though, just because no great wide receiver value anyway. I mean, that sucks. So right now, our team is Lamar, Justin Herbert, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Marquise Brown at wide receiver. Then we have Kenyon Drake, Melvin Gordon at running back, and TJ Hawkinson at tight end. But let's see what Mr. 24K God does. But man, I really hope that made sense, me telling you that I really did not like your Hunter Henry pick with the 911, just because there was a pretty much a guarantee that I was going to have to be avoiding the tight end position with those past 2 picks. So there's really no reason for you to be drafting Hunter Henry. Okay, so let me check the general chat real quick. Okay, so Mike is saying, which running back do you think you could trade for with the 106? Mike, I hate to give you this little cheap answer. I hate to give you this little snarky answer. Do not be moving the 106 for a running back right now. Unless you are getting a ridiculous value, unless you're trading for like a Cam Akers, a J.K. Dobbins, someone that is on their rookie contract and is a 3-down running back, it is going to be a losing proposition. I don't know how new you are to Dynasty. You could be playing for the past 10 years, so I could be insulting you by just telling you this right now. But after you play Dynasty at volume for a long enough time, you realize that these rookie picks, I promise you, are going to continue to rise in value every single week over the next few months. And that is because all your favorite podcasts, all your favorite YouTube channels, all your favorite writers, what we are going to be talking about for the next few months is going to be 2021 rookies, all day, every day. And what that is going to do is that's going to create so much excitement. People are going to be going, oh my God, in a Superflex league, am I going to have Devontae Smith? Am I going to have Jamar Chase possibly falling to me to the 106 if we have some decent running back landing spots? So please, man, I promise you these veteran running backs are going to continue to lose value as the off-season progresses, and those rookie picks are going to continue to gain value. So please do not be trading the 106 for a running back right now unless you are getting too good of a price. Let me just go through and give you a list of running backs that I would rather have over the 106, and it's going to be a lot shorter than you would expect, okay? So I would rather have CMC, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson, Cam Akers. And then after that, it gets tough. After that, we're looking at James Robinson. And if this is a Superflex league, I'm going, you know what? James Robinson, I mean, yes, he looked elite his rookie season. Yes, he has Trevor Lawrence coming in. But is that job fully secure? He is an undrafted free agent. I mean, we see this all the time with these UDFAs. Personally, I want to hop on the James Robinson bandwagon with how good he looked his rookie season. But still, the 106 in a Superflex league, when you know you're going to have Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence going off before that pick, is going to hold so much value. Because if you just think about it, guys, in a Superflex rookie draft, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are almost guaranteed to go in the top 4. So we have 2 elite running backs, it appears, in Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. Then you have also Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith. That's another 4 players. Add on the 2 quarterbacks, you are already getting yourself to the 106. So you are going to be getting one of those elite assets. And yeah, I mean, it's just so safe because you also know there's every single team in your league wanting to trade for that 106. And you can't say that about a veteran running back. Okay. Caleb, thank you so much for subscribing, my man. See, that notification is finally going off. Thank you for subscribing. Really hoping that you are enjoying the live stream. And also, guys, I wanted to point out we have almost 70 likes on this live stream right now. Thank you all so much for supporting the hell out of this stream. Really means a ton. I'm going to continue to try to work as hard as I can throughout the entire course of the offseason for y'all. And I promise you, we are going to be the #1 Dynasty Fantasy Football channel by the end of the offseason. I am fully confident. I'm not confident in my redraft abilities to say I am the best redraft fantasy football player on YouTube. Not going to put that out there, but I can guarantee you that we are taking that stance with Dynasty. If y'all been following us for a couple of years now, I mean, the Dynasty content is going to continue to flow. Okay, so Tio Kappa says Jacobs' value crashed this season. Literally crashed. I mean, man, he won the first round of this Dynasty mock draft. I'll say he's been going at the end of the second, beginning of the third in every other one. So really can't say that he's completely tanked out. I mean, still a 3-down running back on a rookie contract like we talk about all the time. And I mean, if I could get him at the end of the second round or the beginning of the third round in a Dynasty starter draft, I will love that price on Josh Jacobs. Okay, so we have a couple more young wide receivers coming off the board with Christian Kirk and Nicole Hardman. I mean, Nicole Hardman, a very intriguing player. I mean, he looks like he has all the upside in the world. If y'all don't know really who Nicole Hardman is, he was drafted out of Georgia in the same class of A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf back in 2019. He was actually selected ahead of DK Metcalf. The Chiefs traded up to get Nicole Hardman. A lot of people thought they were going to get DK Metcalf when they made that move up, but they took Hardman. The thesis with Nicole Hardman is he is a superb athlete. He was a 5-star guy going into Georgia. Georgia had one of the most talented wide receiver rooms in the entire country. So Nicole Hardman was viewed as a guy that was not polished in his route running capabilities, but was a fantastic athlete, and he was going to be able to take advantage of that with Patrick Mahomes. Has yet to get the opportunity with Sammy Watkins and Marcus Robinson out snapping him when healthy. But we know that Sammy Watkins is under the last year of his contract in 2020. If Sammy Watkins is gone, maybe Nicole Hardman steps up and instead of just primarily being a special teams player, is running the entire route tree with Patrick Mahomes and his elite athletic profile. And I mean, he has all the upside on the planet. Let me know what y'all think of Nicole Hardman. I see KFK Fantasy Football saying, imagine if the Chiefs had DK Metcalf. I know, man. I mean, I think something would have to happen in the NFL for them to balance the scales, because if the Chiefs decided to take DK Metcalf over Nicole Hardman in the 2019 NFL Draft, I mean, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, how are you stopping that? I mean, legitimately, what is your plan? Combined with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, opposing defenses would have no shot. They would be better than the Tom Brady, Randy Moss year where they scored a touchdown on every other drive. I am willing to put that out there because Patrick Mahomes is on another planet. I know I'm young, so I probably sound like I am ignorant saying this, but let me know what y'all think. I mean, I think that a Chiefs team with DK Metcalf instead of Nicole Hardman would be the best offense that the NFL has ever seen. But anyway, let's prepare for our pick that's coming up at the end of the 12th round. Let me slide this over slightly so y'all can see what we are rocking with right now. Our team is Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Then you go down to our wide receiver room where this is the strength of the roster with DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Hollywood Brown. And then at tight end, we had T.J. Hawkinson. Very bad running back room with Kenyon Drake and Melvin Gordon. But yeah, let's see what we are going to be able to come away with the 11-12 turn. And I see Tia Kappa saying, my Patriots drafted N'Keal Slow-Mo Harry over DK Metcalf. Man, they drafted N'Keal Harry over so many wide receivers. Also, A.J. Brown. I mean, just absolutely disgusting. Yeah, and drafted him over Scary Terry. Scary Terry was a wide receiver that I kind of got lucky on in Dynasty rookie drafts back in 2019. I was drafting him really only because he was drafted in the 3rd round by the Washington football team, and he was stepping into immediate opportunity, and he was going very late in Dynasty rookie drafts and Superflex leagues. He was falling to the late 3rd round. So I was drafting Terry McLaurin in so many leagues. I sold him high, quote-unquote sold him high after his rookie season, and then he continued to ball out and made me look stupid. But I mean, I kind of got lucky walking away with so many of him. But anyway, I think we are just going to have to take 2 more running backs here. I hate it. It's definitely not the value. I think the value on the board currently is Bryan Edwards. But based on our team construction, based on this being a mock draft and we are unable to trade, I think we are going to have to double tap with Leonard Fournette and Keyshawn Vaughn. Keyshawn Vaughn, another running back that I hated in this year's past rookie draft. I mean, with Keyshawn Vaughn, the reason I mainly avoided him is because I believed in Ronald Jones being the better talent. Ronald Jones was the younger running back. Keyshawn Vaughn came into the NFL at 23 years old. And if you look at historical hit rates for running backs that come in at that age, they are very bad. Because if you have to stay in college that long to get enough tape, to get enough production, to warrant a high draft pick so you can get paid, generally that means you are not overloaded with talent. This is why I'm a little bit hesitant to say that Najee Harris is this generational elite talent. I don't think there are really any running backs in this 2021 draft class that can come close to that Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift range. But yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Vaughn at this point, I think you just have to assume Fournette's out of Tampa this upcoming season, and Ronald Jones is on the last year of his rookie deal. So maybe Keyshawn Vaughn can get a larger role as a pass-catching running back, something we would desperately need on this roster. Okay, so Mike is asking, what are our top 3 teams so far? Definitely not our team, I will tell you that. Let me slide up real quick and go through these one by one. Let me just see. What I do generally when I look for the best team is I look through the first couple rounds. I eliminate the teams that I think took a massive opportunity cost by going in a direction that they should not, and then see what's left from there. So I really like the start that we had from Shane, who decided to go with Kyler, Dak, then Zeke. If he would have taken Joe Mixon over Ezekiel Elliott, I would have liked that a lot more. I'll say Jeremy is really killing this draft outside of his Tom Brady selection. I mean, if he would have decided to get a quarterback 2 instead of Tom Brady, maybe he decides to take a Jared Goff in the... Actually, maybe he decides to take Kirk Cousins over Kenny Golladay, or he decides to take Matt Stafford over Keenan Allen. A move like that would have made his team so much better, in my opinion. But let's go through and look. Okay, No Capsules has a hell of a squad with DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, and David Montgomery as his 3 running backs. All 3 bell cow running backs still on their rookie contracts. Has 2 solid quarterbacks, at least 1 guaranteed solid quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, and then a quarterback that has some upside in Jimmy Garoppolo, which he was able to get in the 11th round, and then loaded up with wide receiver talent between that with DJ Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, and Robert Woods. Honestly, I mean, No Capsules maybe has one of my favorite teams. Let me go through. Nash's Cashed has a great team as well, outside of the Zach Moss selection in the 7th round. I mean, I would have loved to see him go somewhere else other than Zach Moss. But let me see. I mean, this very, very interesting. No team really stands out as strong as the teams were last night, to be honest. I mean, last night, I think the draft fell probably a lot more comfortable for a lot of people based on 1 or 2 teams taking some wide receivers where they should not have. But in this draft, it's a little bit different. I mean, MJ Mack definitely has a very strong team as well. Yeah, here, let's wait till the very end of the draft and I'll talk about my favorite team, because really, I don't think anybody's separating themselves from the pack at this point. Okay, so Tia Kappa's coming in, says buy low on Carson Wentz. Okay, Tio, man, you know how many leagues I have Jalen Hurts. You know that we were drafting him everywhere in rookie drafts this past offseason. But at this point, I have to agree with you. I mean, I was not a fan of Carson Wentz. I have Carson Wentz in the original Patreon Dynasty Flock League. That's a 16-team Superflex League as well. But I also have Jalen Hurts there, so it kind of saves me. So I have him in that nasty spot. But outside of that, I don't think I have Carson Wentz in a single league. I was a massive believer in Jalen Hurts. But when we are seeing Carson Wentz go off the board in the 11th round, and we have Jalen Hurts going off the board in the 2nd round, I think that's an overcorrection. I mean, I think that we need to take a step back. We need to realize, you know what? The gap between those 2 quarterbacks probably shouldn't be that wide. I think that Carson Wentz should be up in the range of the Raheem Mostert, the Curtis Samuel. At the very least, I think he should be up there in the 9th round. I think Jalen Hurts should possibly slide back down behind the Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Tannehill, more closer to the end of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th. So yeah, coming from someone who was extremely high on Jalen Hurts an offseason ago when I thought he was vastly undervalued, I think at this point, Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz probably need to come a little bit closer and meet each other in the middle a little bit more. I think Carson Wentz should be going off the board closer to Jordan Love in the 9th. Jalen Hurts going off the board at the end of the 3rd, closer to the DK Metcalf. Okay. But anyway, our next target just got selected with Rashad Penny by Tyler in the 13th round. Love that selection. Was really hoping that we were going to get Rashad Penny at the end of the 13th. I mean, he has all of the talent in the world. He just has to stay healthy. He just has to get the opportunity in Seattle, as he had a fantastic profile coming into the NFL. And on top of that, we know that with Rashad Penny, I mean, Chris Carson is not going to be on the roster next year, it looks like. I mean, Chris Carson is not under contract, so Penny can be stepping up into that starting role if he is fully healthy. Going to be very excited to see that. Okay, so Dakota is saying Wentz being untradeable / cuttable makes me nervous about Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I'll say with Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's clearly the better quarterback. But what happens next season if the Philadelphia Eagles, with a new head coach, lose the first 4 games and Jalen Hurts looks bad? I mean, just think about what the media is going to be saying. Think about what the narrative is going to be. People are going to be banging the table for Carson Wentz. So it's in the range of outcomes. I love Jalen Hurts. I have him on a ton of my own Dynasty Superflex teams based on the fact that I wasn't a massive fan of Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts had that rushing ability that we all saw. I mean, I'll say real quick, I saw Jalen Hurts in quite possibly his best collegiate game, at least for Oklahoma, that he ever played in the Cotton Bowl with CeeDee Lamb back in 2019. I mean, he was unreal. He has a highlight play that sticks in my mind, so maybe I'm a little bit biased with Jalen Hurts. But yeah, I mean, I love the rushing talent of the quarterback. Okay, so Tia is saying, in a league where people drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, everything is a possibility. So yeah, I mean, do not even bring that up. What's actually really funny is if you were looking at Dynasty startup drafts in that season, which was 2017, I don't know if y'all remember, but I have the distinct memory of actually Mitchell Trubisky going at the top of rookie drafts, even though most people in Dynasty did not like Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, you listen to your favorite, I don't want to say analysis expert, quote-unquote expert, and they were saying Mitchell Trubisky's a bum. And generally, I don't like to give my quarterback takes outside of this quarterback can be mobile. This quarterback can provide fantasy value if he is a starter. I don't like to try to pretend like I am some scout guru of these quarterbacks coming into the NFL, as it's an impossible job. And if anybody's trying to pretend like they are that expert, generally, they probably don't know what they are talking about. But in the case of Dynasty owners, most people got it right. I mean, most people with Mitchell Trubisky did not like him. They still drafted him early because he was going to be a starting quarterback right away. And Patrick Mahomes went late because if y'all remember, I mean, Alex Smith was the starting quarterback in Kansas City. Alex Smith played the entire season. Mahomes got to start in Week 17. But you could have gotten Patrick Mahomes at the very end of the first round in your Dynasty Superflex rookie draft. Okay. But anyway, we are back up on the board in 2 picks. Ideally here, we are going to be going with a running back, as we are just trying to piece together as much running back production as possible. So really, we have Le'Veon Bell, Joshua Kelly, Marlon Mack, Alexander Mattison, Lynn Bowden, DJ Dallas, Mark Ingram, Eno Benjamin, Tariq Cohen. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we have some gross running backs here. There's one running back that I'd be excited if he falls to us. I'm not going to say his name out loud until Mr. 24 God has made his selection. But outside of that, if he does not fall to us, I think we're going to have to pivot over and we are going to have to go elsewhere. And that may be at the wide receiver position. Let me scroll through and see if any names are popping out. None that I see right away. Let me go over to tight end, see if we want to get our second tight end where, yes, there's a name that I like. We have 2 guys in mind. Let's see if either one falls to us. Okay, so Dakota is saying predicting rookie quarterback production is impossible 90% of the time. If these pro coaches get it wrong, I promise any of us will get it wrong, just much more. Yeah, guys, that's what I'll say. I mean, we're about to get to draft season, and I'll tell you right now, you're going to have a lot of guys who are literally just accountants as their day job telling you what player is going to succeed at the NFL level and what player is going to flame out. What we are going to be trying to do here instead is we are going to be trying to profile the guys that if we think they get opportunity, they should be able to do something great in terms of translating that opportunity to fantasy production, not necessarily have success at the NFL level. I know they are 2 different things, but they are so important to make the distinction between. And Joshua Kelly selected at the 13-11, so we have our running back falling to us at the end of the 13th round, which is going to be Alexander Mattison. And we're going to pivot over and take our tight end Austin Hooper right afterwards in the 14th round. So our team right now, if we look at our quarterback room, we have Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. If we look at our wide receivers, we have DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Hollywood Brown. Then we go to our running backs, Kenyon Drake, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Keyshawn Vaughn, Alexander Mattison. Definitely an extremely ugly group of running backs. And then we have Hawkinson and Austin Hooper at tight end. I'll say right now, Austin Hooper in the 14th round is straight up criminal. I mean, you look at the contract that he signed. I mean, it was a record-breaking contract at the time with guaranteed money. So please, 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 guys, if you are going to be able to get Austin Hooper after Joshua Kelly, Sterling Shepard, Anthony McFarland, Darrington Evans, Jamal Williams, Russell Gage, I mean, that is going to be a steal 10 times out of 10. But anyway, let me go through. And Gino is asking if Keenan Allen is gone already. Yes, sir. Keenan Allen is definitely gone. Let me slide up real quick so everybody can see the draft board. And yeah, Keenan Allen went off in the 5th round with the 8th pick, right after Chris Godwin and Brandon Ayuk, and right before DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, and Mike Evans. I'll say real quick, I think DJ Moore was a fantastic value by no capsules in the 5th round. I mean, I could make the argument for DJ Moore over Keenan Allen, over Brandon Ayuk, over Chris Godwin, over Allen Robinson, over Terry McLaurin, over CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you could make the argument for DJ Moore if you look at his age-adjusted production early on in his NFL career. Okay, so we have Drew Lock going off the board in the 14th round. Also, another great selection if somehow Drew Lock maintains that quarterback starting job for the Denver Broncos this upcoming season. I mean, he's going to be throwing to a second-year KJ Hamler, a second-year Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton coming back from the ACL tear, and Noah Fant going into his 3rd season. I mean, the Denver Broncos quite possibly have the best wide receiver and tight end room in the entire NFL if you look at their age and how they should be able to develop over the next few seasons. So, extremely excited for whoever the starting quarterback is in Denver if we get all of those options nice and healthy for them. But anyway, Eric Ebron, also a fantastic value. This is why I don't want to be selecting tight ends early. This is why I probably should not have taken TJ Hawkinson at the 7-12. I probably should have gone with another wide receiver there. Maybe a guy like Denzel Mims, take him away from JN. That way we can just load up instead. Just say if we took Denzel Mims there instead of TJ Hawkinson, we could have taken Tyler Higbee instead of Alexander Madison there, and I think that would have been a nice swap. But that's why I really want to be waiting as late as I can on tight end in these drafts. Okay, guys, real quick, we are so close to 100 likes on this live stream. Thank y'all so much. I don't know if we've ever had 100 likes on a live stream on this particular channel. Obviously, the other channel when we were live streaming every night was a completely different monster. So, but anyway, every milestone that we can hit is massive. And I want to thank y'all. 100 likes, absolutely insane for a channel that was started a little bit over a month ago. But anyway, let me go through and JN says he got some fire picks coming up. JN, I promise you, my man, maybe you get one of them off, but the other guy's not going to. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe you get one, my man. We will see. We will see. Dakota says, do you take perceived value into account when drafting? That's something I do. Think about trading down and getting what value players are for. Yes, sir. I mean, that's exactly how I win Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues, to be honest. I mean, whenever I was, just say like 4 years ago, whenever I was 18 and I was just sitting there, just as nerdy Mason can be, playing, have literally just everything that I've ever had in a bank account in Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues, and I'm sitting there playing in 20 leagues, sending out 20 offers every single day. That's how I was making my living, just because I knew exactly where these players were valued in Dynasty Leagues, and I would be able to say, I buy Mike Evans for 2.5 first tier, and then I sell him for 3 first tier. That is an instant profit that I get, and then when you have a large portfolio, it's easy to accrue assets, and it's easy to go out there and construct some dominant teams. Okay. But anyway, Logan says, what up, bro? Love the channel. Would you trade CMC, Josh Allen, and Allen Robinson for Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, and Russell Wilson in a Dynasty Superflex League? Keep up the great work. Okay, real quick, I'll say that Russell Wilson and Josh Allen are a lot closer for me than most people want to have them. And this is because at the quarterback position in Superflex, really age is drastically overvalued. Age should not be taken into consideration as much as it is. I mean, at running back, age is everything. But at quarterback, you don't really care about it. And then so here, just say we take Josh Allen and Russell Wilson out of this deal and look at it outside that. Then it's CMC and Allen Robinson for Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley and CMC are right there for me. So yeah, I mean, I would clearly prefer having the Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, and Russell Wilson side, my man. So definitely make that trade. But guys, give me your best reasoning that Josh Allen should be leaps and bounds over Russell Wilson in Superflex leagues, because I mean, y'all are not the only ones thinking this. Josh Allen has been consistently going in the middle of first round of these Dynasty mock drafts. And Russell Wilson, I don't think has cracked the first round yet. He's always going in the second. But if I was just having to make a bet on what quarterback I thought over the next 5 seasons would score more raw total fantasy points, I mean, if you're looking at the range of outcomes in the large enough sample we have on Russell Wilson right now, as well as his young-ish age compared to other quarterbacks, I mean, I would pretty much be willing to lay any amount of money on Russell Wilson. So let me know what y'all think. But personally, I'm so high on Russ. Okay. Anyway, last few rounds, we have Latavius Murray, Cam Newton, T.Y. Hilton, and Jacoby Myers all going off the board. Okay, so Ian's coming out and says because he's better and younger. Guys, real quick, I mean, how old's Russell Wilson? Is Russell Wilson 32 years old? Let me look this up. Yep, we were correct. Russell Wilson is 32 years old. Okay, so Russell Wilson's 32 years old. So if we're talking about age at the quarterback position right now, I mean, with how these trainers are setting these quarterbacks up, I mean, Russell Wilson can easily play until he's 40. If Tom Brady's playing until he's 43 right now, I mean, Russell Wilson has another 7 years of science on his side to be able to make sure that his body continues to be good to go. So I don't think we need to even consider age when we were talking about Russell Wilson in a Superflex league. I mean, maybe slightly, maybe we use that as a tiebreaker. But yeah, I mean, I think that Russell Wilson, if we just look at, real quick, let's do this little exercise real quick. Let me look up fantasy finishes QB by year. And let's see how consistent Russell Wilson has been, because we see a lot of guys popping off. So in 2020, clearly Josh Allen was the quarterback 1 overall. We have Russell Wilson as the quarterback 6. Let's go into 2019. Russell Wilson is the, let's see. Russell Wilson's the quarterback 4 a season ago. Let's go to 2018, where Russell Wilson's a quarterback 9. 2017. Russell Wilson's the quarterback 1. 2016. So guys, we've gone through 4 years so far of Russell Wilson being a top 10 quarterback. Yeah, so I don't even need to continue doing this. Let's end it at 2017 when Russell Wilson was the quarterback 1. I mean, he's given us such a large sample right now of just straight up dominance at the position that I think a lot of people are undervaluing him in Dynasty Superflex leagues. Okay, but anyway, let me move my little thing over here. Ooh, shoot. Wrong thing. Okay, let's move me over here. That way y'all can see the upcoming selections. Okay, Nash's Cash takes our man in Colin Johnson. I knew he was going either Colin Johnson or Devin Duvernay, so we have to get the other guy coming up here. Let's see if Devin is still available. Oh my gosh, did Devin Duvernay already get selected? Yeah, it looks like where did Devin Duvernay go off the board? Let's check this out. He went off the board by Nash's Cash all the way in the 10th round. Are you kidding me, my man? No, the 11th round. You cannot be taking Devin that early. I was planning on getting him way back here. I mean, when KJ Hamler's going off the board in the middle of the 12th, you can't be taking Devin in the 11th. I guess maybe you were thinking I was going to snipe you on him, but still that's crazy, my man. Okay, but anyway, let me go through. Let me see. Let me try to figure out who your next pick is going to be. Actually, I may have an idea. Hey, Jayan, check out this next pick, my man. Check out this next pick. So let's lock it in. Y'all know I need a running back. I want a running back with size. I want a running back that at the college level was able to handle a ridiculous workload and actually had a nice athletic profile at the NFL Combine. He's playing behind a player that did just sign an extension, but we know that he has no guaranteed money this next season. I'm sorry, 2 years from now. So we are going to be taking Donta Foreman in the 15th round, just so Jayan can't have him as his last pick. We're going to be stealing that away. Let me see if I can come up with anything else. Okay, Jayan out here saying he's crying. Yeah, man, I had to take that from you. I thought you were going to be going with, I didn't realize you already took Devin way back then. I thought you were going Colin and Devin with the 15th and 16th. Anyway, real quick, all jokes aside, let me see who my best player available is for this 16th round selection. We have Antonio Gandy-Golding pretty much just staring us in the face. A third round wide receiver for the Washington football team. We're going to take him. Okay, KFK says, I'm in high school and I was at school for 3 minutes and then had to go home because of the contact tracing. Got a quarantine FML. Man, that absolutely sucks. I've had no experience like that. I have yet to take a COVID test. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, JN comes out and takes a Tyron Swoops. Guys, if y'all don't know, Swoops was a quarterback for the, I mean, I don't even want to call him a quarterback, but he was a key player for the Longhorns way back before I even went to UT. That's crazy. I didn't even know that he was still in the NFL, my man. Okay, so anyway, Tyler said, Mason, you're going to really like my last pick. Be ready. I'm assuming that this is some bum from the Los Angeles Chargers. Guys, if y'all don't know, Tyler took Justin Herbert, I believe, at the 102 in one of these former mock drafts. My man, Tyler, what are you thinking here when you see me get Justin Herbert at the 201? Okay, so KFK says he has to take a COVID test tomorrow. Guys, let me know. Am I the only person who has not had to take a COVID test yet? I kind of think that if I can get out of this entire situation without having to take one, I mean, how many people in the United States can say that? Oh, KFK saying, what about Lil Jordan Humphrey? God damn it. That's who I should have taken. I should have taken my man Lil Jordan Humphrey. I actually have Lil Jordan Humphrey in a significant amount of Flock Dynasty leagues that are best ball. So, I mean, Jayan, if you're wanting to hop in some of those leagues with me, if you want to trade for Lil Jordan Humphrey, I mean, man, we'll see. The price is going to be a little bit stiff. I'm going to be looking for multiple high rookie draft picks, but maybe we can work something out. Tyler said he's mad he wanted Herbert. Yeah, there's no way. Where were you drafting? Yeah, you were drafting with the second pick in this one. There's no way you were getting Justin Herbert with me picking at the 12th slot. Dylan says he hasn't had a COVID test yet. Jayan says, bro, my dad's high risk, and I haven't. That's crazy, my man. But anyway, let me go through. Let's see who these last few picks are. Guys, if y'all have any questions for me, shoot them my way right now. If not, y'all can DM me on Patreon. This was a fantastic live stream. And yeah, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. And I will probably be live streaming tomorrow night as well. Just make sure y'all drop a like. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell next to the subscribe button. That's how you're going to get notified when we go live. That's how you're going to come in and hop in this live stream. Okay, I'm sure that we are going to see some auto picks here. Okay, guys, also I'll say with Zach Ertz going off this late, I mean, talk about a fall. Zach Ertz is maybe my biggest L in Dynasty a season ago. I never pumped him up on the YouTube channel or anything just because I did not have an extremely strong take about him. But I was in the range of drafts this past season where I was just clicking Zach Ertz every time in the 5th round, and I am hating it right now. I mean, he is just straight up dead. Okay, so Dakota wants us to highlight the value that we saw in the double-digit rounds. Yes, sir. Let me go through. Let me see if we have any picks that stand out. Let's start in round 10. Round 10. Devin Singletary, I like the value there. Nicole Hardman, I mean, I like the player. I can't call that necessarily value. Christian Kirk, love the value of Christian Kirk. I'll say round 10, I think the best picks were Devin Singletary and Christian Kirk. Okay, so round 11, let's go through. Carson Wentz and Jimmy G. I think that we cannot overlook those two quarterbacks and their profiles, and they're just chances to get a starting job. I mean, if they start, that's going to be a superb value. Okay, so round 12, Keyshawn Vaughn, blah, blah, blah. Round 12, nothing really standing out. I guess you could go with Teddy Bridgewater. Round 13, Darrell Henderson. Love the selection of Darrell Henderson in round 13. We have a donation coming in from JN. Said, good stuff. Hook 'em, all gas, no brakes. Man, hook 'em horns. Thank you so much for mock drafting with me, my man. I hope you had a ton of fun, as I did. Now, let's go through and look at round 14 real quick, see if around 14 anything stands out. I mean, I think in this round, it's the story of the tight ends. I think Eric Ebron, Tyler Higbee, and Austin Hooper are the values. In round 15, I think we are most likely going to be going with the values being the quarterbacks yet again in Jameis Winston and Cam Newton. Okay, so let's see where Tyler comes in. Tyler says we're going to like this pick. Let's see what it is, my man. Decides to go with Frank Gore. Hey, Tyler, why am I supposed to like Frank Gore? I do not get that. Anyway, let me go through and show y'all the draft board one more time, just in case y'all missed it. Okay, so thank y'all all so much, guys. If y'all have not already, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment once the video is uploaded, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out so much. But thank you guys, and I'm going to be making some videos for the channel tomorrow as well as the basketball channel too. So have a great day.